So for today, as I said, this Open Doors Fellowship program is starting a new sort of adventure with the sponsorship of BLIR, the Belgian Cooperation Agency, and also the Mark and Nora van Montagu Foundation, who is supporting part of the fellowships we are providing. And also this program is being sponsored by the Plant Biotechnology and Breeding Network, which is an international thematic network that has been granted by Ghent University. In today's session, we're going to start very soon, right now, with the fellows' testimonies. We believe that, it's important that they share their stories with all of you so you can have a taste of what was for each of them. Each of them was in different labs and in different circumstances, so you can get their advices, their suggestions, their success stories, or also, the do's and the don'ts from each of them. And later on, I will jump in to present the guidelines for the new intake. We ask you, please, to bring all the questions that you want to share with us or you want to shoot at us into the chat. Grace is going to take care of that. And what we will do is a joint Q&A session at the end. So we want to hear first the testimonies. We're going to give you information on the calls. And then later on, we'll have a live Q&A question. So without any further delay, I'm going to ask our first fellow of today's session, which is Adeola Ajayi, to share her screen and give you her presentation about her experience in the Open Doors Fellowship Program. Adeola, the floor is yours, please.
Thank you, Lara. Share my screen. Please, can you see my screen?
Yeah, we see it. Yeah, we don't see you, but we see your screen.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, everybody. Good morning. My name is Adeola Ajayi. I'm a staff of International Institute of Tropical Agriculture, Nigeria. I'm one of the fellows of Open Doors Fellowship. I thank the organizer for giving me the opportunity to be a speaker at this webinar. My research area is on genetic improvement of crops. I work on silviculture techniques for generation of clean planting materials for crops like yam, the Escora species, and underutilized crops like African yam bean. So after generating clean planting materials, together with my team, we multiply the clean plantlets to produce breeder seed. And I also work on development and improvement of micropropagation protocols for optimal performance of plants in silviculture. So I've worked with the ILVO project of IITA. This is a project whose mission was to establish functional breeder seed yam units and foundation together with certified yam producers in Ghana and Nigeria. To have a to establish foundation and certified yam producers in Ghana and Nigeria, because yam is the second most important fruit and tuber crops in Africa after cassava. And 90% of the production is done in Africa. So there is need to develop a formal yam system in the two countries. So the project is about developing high ratio propagation technologies for yam. And the project has been able to develop high ratio technologies for yam, which the first one here is temporary immersion bioreactor system, which is an advanced silviculture techniques. The project also developed some other rapid multiplication techniques, which include aeroponics and hydroponic system for yam production. So I would go through the process of producing high quality seed yam. From my left here, the first picture is on selection of plantlets for introduction. When the project started, there were no clean plantlets. So the project started with cleanly infected plant materials. And after selection of the infected plant materials, these materials are taken through to the culture procedure. The second picture here is the process of disinfection. After the disinfection, the vines are initiated into culture. After the initiation, there is a process of heat therapy together with meristem culture. And after this, the plant regenerates into a full-grown plantlet, and indexing is done for virus and bacteria. So after the indexing, we get clean plantlets from tissue culture. After we get these plantlets, we multiply in large batch using the temporary immersion reactor system, which I have here for mass propagation of clean plants. So from there, the plantlets move out through hardening. We harden through vivipac. And after this, the plantlets have moved to different facilities we have for multiplication of vines. This hydroponic system. This helps to multiply the vines to get large numbers of vines. So the plantlets here are clean plantlets. So from here, we move to single nodal planting. Single nodes from the vines are planted. So after rooting, these plants are moved to the field. From here, we generate clean foundation seed yam. This clean foundation seed yam are used to produce certified seed that farmers can buy. So farmers have been using traditional system of yam propagation, which builds up diseases and reduce the yield of farmers. But with this, there is a formal seed system for farmers. Farmers can harvest and they can sell off their harvest because there is a seed system that is functional. They can easily buy their planting materials, which are clean. So for the Open Doors Fellowship, the fellowship is divided into two phases. The first phase is the study visit to Belgium, and the second phase is soft and hard skill training on VIB online training portfolio. So for this fellowship, my visit to Belgium lab at the University of Ghent, I was able to work on development of protocols to improve micropropagation of African yam bean. African yam bean is an underutilized crop, which has the ability to produce both tuber and seed. So these are the tubers of African yam bean and the seed of African yam bean. The tubers and the seed are rich in carbohydrates, dietary fiber, important minerals, and essential amino acids. So this crop can help in solving the problem of food insecurity in sub-Saharan Africa. But the crop still needs to be improved because it has a lot of challenge. There are a lot of constraints to the consumption of this crop. It has hard seed coats, and the maturation duration is very long. So a lot of improvement work has to be done on this crop. So for my work in Belgium, I work on micropropagation of African yam bean, like I said. So I work on development of protocols for disinfection of African yam bean, seed, and nodal cuttings. I also work on the effect of different cytokinins and auxins on shoot and root formation in African yam bean, and effect of different light regime on the tea culture production of African yam bean. Right before this time, we had master students that work on this crop. but the percentage of shoot formation was very low. It was lower than 30%. And the highest 2 root we got was 2. But through this fellowship and my visit to Belgium lab, I was able to develop disinfection protocols that are more effective and with lower contamination rates. And we were able to get 100% shoot formation and average of 5 roots per plant. And apart from that, each shoot we got, for each plantlet, we had an average of 5 shoots, which is very important for rapid multiplication and the best light regime for propagation of African yam bean too. So from other trainings like soft skill training, I was able to undergo negotiation course. This course was the first course we did when we got to Belgium, and the course is really important for every fellow that will be coming on board, because we're taught how to build lasting partnership and cooperations with colleagues at work, even outside the workspace. And we were taught on mindset for successful negotiation. And we were taught about so many tools to use when we are negotiating so that we can have a long-lasting partnership with collaborators, with colleagues, and with people outside our workspace. We also have training on cross-cultural communication. We operate in multicultural environment like IT where I work. We have people from different cultural backgrounds. So for us to have a long-lasting relationship and for us to achieve common goals, there is need to understand people come from different cultural backgrounds and to know how to communicate across cultures. The course ended with a joint multicultural dinner. And I appreciate the fact that we had this course before visiting our labs. We had the opportunity to meet the hosts from different labs and the members of the lab outside the lab. So going to the lab did not make me personally feel like a stranger. So these are faces that I've already seen, I've already communicated with before getting to the lab. So we are also had training on how to present with power. We were taught tips and tricks to give great speech. And we had 1 minute and 5 minutes oral speech presentation. This course, the next fellow must not miss this course because it gives the tricks for better scientific presentation. It's really going to help all the fellows to know how to present their science in a better way. And I also had opportunity of attending the symposium on potential of genome medicine for sustainable agriculture in Africa. There were a lot of people that came from this advancement in genome editing through this symposium. We also had other courses on science speaking. We have courses on science speaking. The courses remaining are self-leadership, horizon hero proposal writing, where we learned about how to write competitive proposals, how to write grants, research, how to write proposals for grants. So far, the fellowship has helped me to know that my professional success is tied to ability to speak up, to share, to lead, and to connect with others. And I want to thank Obudo's Fellowship for giving me this opportunity. I've been given the platform to connect, to broaden my research network, to meet scientists in my field, to collaborate with others. And the fellowship has increased my visibility and helping me to find my voice, to gain more confidence in my work and in myself. And the fellowship has also helped me in establishment of African yam tissue culture in my lab. People have been working on this, but with the recent visit to Belgium, I was able to improve the protocol, which we had before going. And I was able to get disinfection protocol, which has really helped in maintenance of African yam tissue culture. And I also developed skills for better scientific presentation. So this fellowship has really helped me in so many ways. It has helped me in increasing my chance for progressing in my career. I want to acknowledge the IIT management for giving me the encouragement and support to apply for the fellowship. And I want to thank my supervisors, Professor Morifa Balogun and Professor Michael Habertin, for their support so far. And I also want to thank the IPBO team for this great initiative. Thank you for giving African women opportunity to get to the peak of their career through this fellowship. Thank you so much. And thank you for listening.
Thank you so much, Adeola. I was also like thrilled, like some people in the chat, about the success, the percentage of, you've gone from 30%, you said, on the germination, I think, to 100%.
Yes.
I wasn't aware of that figure either, and I thought it was like mind-blowing. So congratulations for the hard work. We're going to move to the next presenter, but I've seen that is a very relevant question that I think is very important and very pertinent in the chat from Mary Emeragi. I hope I said it well. We are going to address that, and I'll make sure that we address that at the Q&A section. Okay, so I've seen your question. I've seen you, Mary, so we'll come back to that. But after this excellent presentation from Adeola, I would like to give the floor to our next fellow, and she's Madina Diankumba, and I hope she's still, yeah, she is connected, and I hope we can also see her a bit, because we didn't see Adeola. She's having some connectivity issues. But please, Madina, share your presentation with us. We're happy to hear from you on your experiences under the Open Doors Fellowship Program. You are muted, by the way, Madina, in case you didn't know.
Sorry. I also have an internet issue, and I'm trying to move to...
But I think we can hear you very well. Maybe we don't see you.
It's okay. I think I will just switch on my camera for people to see me, then switch it off and start the presentation, because my internet is really not good.
I think it's a good, yeah.
Yeah.
Medina, it's better that you switch off the video, because we've lost your voice as soon as you switched on the, yeah.
So can you hear me now?
Not very well. Your voice is now breaking. Let's try again, please.
So good morning.
No, not. Yeah, it sounds like a bit distorted. We were hearing you very well, and not anymore. No, we are not hearing you well, Marina. Maybe we can try something, if you don't mind, until you can find someone who can connect you to a cable, or maybe get your internet a bit more stabilized. Maybe what we can do is to move ahead and ask Anik, if you don't mind to step in. Is that okay?
Yes.
Yes, because we can't hear you still. Okay. But I think we have Anik. Anik, she's here, and I think she's also ready. Good morning, Anik.
Good morning, Laura.
We hear you and we see you very well.
Yeah, good morning, everybody. I'm really happy to see all the participants we have today for our webinar. Laura, if you don't mind, I'll also switch off my camera because I'm connected with my phone internet. So I may be having some issue while presenting. But greetings to everyone. I'm really happy to see all of you here.
That's not a problem. We know that in Ireland, internet sometimes is not that good either. So please go ahead.
Not always the case, yeah. So I'll start sharing my screens so then you can see my presentation. Can you see my slides, please?
Yeah, we do see them well.
Okay. Thank you very much, Laura. Thank you, all of you. I'm really happy to be given this opportunity today to share with you my experience with Open Door Fellowship. I'm one of the 3 fellows after Adeola and Madina. We joined the program since last May, where we went to Belgium to have our 3 months stay in different labs. So the topic I work on during this fellowship is rhizobacteria transformation of sweet potato and evaluation of the transformed plants to sweet potato virus disease in Benin. Trying to switch to the next. Laura, I'm having issue to move to the next slide.
Well, you're having what? It's a power. If you go
yeah,
now.
Good. Okay, perfect. So yeah, my presentation is going to follow this guideline. First, I'll give a bit of introduction and tell you about sweet potato production constraint in Benin, mainly the virus diseases, and my research work in Belgium, my scientific achievements, and I'll also tell you the soft skills courses I attended during my stay in Belgium and also afterwards, because we're having online courses as well, and a bit of conclusion and recommendation at the end. So to start, I would like to tell you a bit of my research career. I started my first diploma at the university, obtaining my engineering agronomical degree at the University of Parakou, that is in Benin. After that, I was so interested in crop protection fields, working with topics related to that. So I went to Belgium to attend the Nematology master program, which ran from 2011 to 2013. And after that, I was so interested again that we applied for a scholarship given by the University of Ghent, and I was successful, which made me complete my PhD in 2018 on a nematology topic. And after that, I moved back to Benin, to my lab, and started working there as a research assistant. And currently, I was given a position at the Southeast Technological University in Ireland, which I am now working. That's in the Department of Applied Science. So I put this slide just to show you a bit where Benin is located, because usually when people ask me where are you from, I say Benin. People usually get confused with the Benin city in Nigeria. I see a lot of Nigerian participants here. So it's not the city in Nigeria, but Benin Republic. We are actually neighbors to Nigeria. And my university is somewhere located in the northern part, as you can see on the screen, somewhere here. So in my university, I work in let's say an interdisciplinary lab. And in that lab, we have a lot of scientists. We have scientists working with bacteria. Some work with the phytotechnique. We have geneticians, we have entomologists, and we have also the phytopathology section, which is where I work. And the lab manager is Professor Leona Afuda, which is my supervisor back home. So in the section of the phytopathology, we deal with the virus, fungi, and nematode diseases. I should say recently, there is a new lab devoted to nematode work only. So this project, as I'm working in that lab, I'm involved in several projects. And one of the projects I work on is the sweet potato. And we want to say the disease importance, the traits that we have in cultivating sweet potato in Benin with the focus on the virus diseases. And this project is run by a doctoral student that is fully working on it. Her name is Nadia Chabi. And I should say, why did we think about focusing on this subject? It's like in Benin, we grow a lot of sweet potato as it is in the sub-Saharan Africa. And growing this crop, there is a lot of constraints, like we have a lot of viruses, we have like, we have sweet potato weevil, we have fungi, but mainly from the work of Nadia, we did the prospection and saw that among the virus diseases, the main one is the sweet potato virus disease. This is a complex disease. We have the sweet potato virus disease when the plant is infected with both sweet potato feathering mottle virus and the sweet potato chlorotic virus. So if a sweet potato plant is infected by those two viruses, then we have the sweet potato virus, which is really, really devastating. It can damage, it can cause a lot of damages, like up to 80% yield loss. So I put all these pictures to show you how the symptoms on the leaf look like. You see, and we have sometimes potyvirus can cause this yellowish on the leaves, which can give us a bit of clue if the plant is infected or not. And the sweet potato feathering mottle virus on the second and the third picture, you can see how it looks like. And also the sweet potato chlorotic virus can cause dwarfing in the plant. You see here we have two different types of plant. One is not growing well. The other one is performing very well. So also on the tubers, sometimes we can have symptoms as well as you can see here. So all this caused a lot of damage to our farmers. When I was joining the Open Door Fellowship Program, my expectations were first, generally improving the sweet potato production in Benin as in the whole sub-Saharan Africa. And mainly I wanted to learn how to get rid of virus in infected plants, because we know usually when plant is infected with virus, we usually try to look for healthy planting material, clean planting material, or combating the vectors. So I was thinking if I could learn how to prepare clean planting material for sweet potato, that would be of a great help to improve a bit the production in the country. So in the advertisement, the topic that were advertised, I saw a lab that proposed that method, which is the ILVO lab, head by, and I was hosted, by two brilliant scientists, Ellen and Amy, and they accepted to host me to work on this subject. So also I wanted to evaluate the susceptibility of the transformed plant to the virus disease when I go back to my lab. So when I reached Belgium, I went to the lab. We worked on 6 different genotypes of sweet potato. And I should mention that these genotypes were not from Benin. They were from Belgium, because I had issue to bring the sweet potato varieties from Benin to Belgium due to phytosanitary reasons. So among these 3 genotypes, we focused only on 4, because before I reached, there is a student that already tried to put them in tissue culture, because it was a stay of only 3 months. So to go a bit faster, he started to put them in tissue culture. So only 4 of them grew very well. So I focused my work on that. And we tried to do the agrobacterium transformation on these 4 genotypes. As you can see on the pictures, we try to co-cultivate this genotype with agrobacterium. And I also try to look for the best explant, the best part of the plant that could give us good results. We compared the facial part, the middle part, and give a bit of stretch or not to see what is performing well, because I should say the agrobacterium transformation on sweet potato has not well been worked on, so it's somehow new. So we wanted to know what the best methodology would be. And as you can see on the pictures, we saw that the facial part was giving a lot of roots. So I proceeded forward using this type of explant. So I also checked the DS red. I also did the DS red genotyping. We tried to screen the best genotype using the DS red fluorescence. And and also checking with 3 different strains of the bacteria. And from the DS red experiments, we have some positive results, which were further analyzed with the qPCR, but unfortunately we didn't get a positive result after the qPCR. But another idea that came into our mind was to go for the tubers themselves as explants, not using the leaves. So we cut the 2 sweet potato tubers, as you can see here, and tried the co-cultivation directly with the bacteria. And I don't know if my screen, the picture is big enough. You can see some roots already growing out of the tubers, which is really excellent. We were really happy about these results. And roots were collected from the tubers, and we placed them on a callus induction and shoot induction media to see if we will have new shoots. This part of the work is still going on in the lab right now, even if I'm no longer there. There is a technician, I think Christine, by the way, who is taking care of this, and we're really hoping for very good results. Next to my work on the transformation using agrobacteria, I also learned other techniques. Like I was in the lab of Dr. Angelo DeWitt, who taught me how to do meristem culture. This is something I never did before I went to Belgium. And also tried to do the tissue culture myself, so put sweet potato in tissue culture myself. I also tried on the apple plants, puncta plants, different plants to master a bit the technique so that we can do it back home. And also I try to gain practice even some phenotyping on roses plants and also on chrysanthemum plants. When I was in the lab, 2 researchers from Poland came there to work on chrysanthemum. So you can see me here on the picture trying to get photosynthesis data myself. They taught me how to do it, and also to measure the flow sap in chrysanthemum. So I gained a lot of knowledge during my stay in the ILVO lab. And coming to the soft skill, as I was mentioning at the beginning, we were engaged in a lot of courses which were really relevant. Some of them were in person. We were like face to face because we were in Belgium. We could sit in the room and then like, yeah, have the course. And also some online ones. I think that mostly, like most of the course Adeola already mentions, the cross-cultural communication course, the present with power. You can see me here as she was mentioning at the end of the course. We were given the opportunity to present our research in a better way because we gain a lot of skills, so we put them in practice, and yeah, it was really, really, really nice, and we learned a lot of things. We used to present, yes, but we learned very new things that definitely change our way of presenting. My way of presenting, I would say, because I try to put them in practice whenever I'm presenting my research, or even in my daily life when we are in a communication with other people. Also, we have the Horizon Europe proposal writing and a phenotyping session with other researchers that came to Belgium at that time. For the online courses, we have the speaking science, the negotiate with success with Melissa. It was a brilliant course. Really, really gave us skills how to negotiate well, because in our daily life, we are always negotiating home, at work, everywhere. So she taught us how to prepare ourselves before the negotiation itself. So how to get whatever we wanted from that negotiation. And it was really nice and really, really helpful. And the R course, the basic R courses also, I attended that one. So this fellowship, the Open Door Fellowship, I'm really happy to be part of this program, I should say, because it helped me to increase my self-confidence, I would say, because sometimes when you're working, you can feel sometimes like, am I really able to do this? Am I really, like, will I make it? But if we have this self-confidence, we can achieve more better things than we think. So, and also it expanded my network. All these people I mentioned I was working with in Belgium, they are now part of my network. We keep contact, and then this gives me better visibility. And from my work at ILVO, we're planning to make a publication out of the results and possibly write up a proposal to further our work. I thank you all for your participation. I thank the IPBO team, mainly Laura, Mark, and all the IPBO members. I thank you very much to give me this opportunity to be part of this program. I'm really happy. I'm learning a lot. And I thank also my other fellows for the nice time we have in Belgium and all the things we have been teaching each other. And thank you all for your attention.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Anik, for this beautiful presentation you've given us. I would like to say that during the selection phase, Ellen and Emmy opened that slot, and you came with your idea about how the research that they were conducting in Belgium could feed eventually your sweet potato program. And then is when you proposed the use of rhizobial transformation. And then they thought, wow, you know, this is something we have not tried here ourselves. We know the techniques. We haven't done that, but the way you presented it in your application and the way you defended that potential collaboration during the interview made them say, yes, it's good to go. I mean, it's really worth pursuing a new line of research with our partner in Africa. So I also want to mention that, because it's not that this sweet potato research was ongoing here, but basically you created that connection with the group, bringing in the sweet potato component. So you did a great application, and that's why you were selected on the first place. And yeah, this has to be said. So it's very important to highlight the merits of our own fellows as well, because it's
Thank you, Laura.
It's not only the right thing to do, but it's the fair thing to do as well. All right. So if you have any questions for Anik, please put them in the chat. For the sake of time, we're going to move now to Marina, and I believe that her technical issues are solved, right, Marina?
I hope so.
Yes, we hear you very well now. So
great.
Yeah, the floor is yours. So kindly share your screen. We are looking forward to hearing from your experience. Thank you.
I hope you can see my screen.
It's loading, no worries. It's coming.
Let me know when.
Yes, so now you only have to put in presentation mode. Yes, perfect.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Welcome to this webinar. It's a pleasure for me to share with you my experience on the Open Door Fellowship Program. My name is Madina Jankumba. I work as a postdoctoral fellow at ICRISAT, Bamako in Mali. So this is the way I will take you through my presentation. I will give a brief introduction and talk a bit about my work here in Africa and my stay in Belgium, and then talk about those courses we attended, the outcome of the project, and finally, some recommendation for the new fellows coming. So I work mainly on sorghum. Likewise, my other fellows, I'm on different activities in ICRISAT. However, I'm going to present one of the main ones. So I work mainly now on sorghum, which is the 5th most important cereal crop in the world, and the 2nd in Africa after maize, with 22% total cereal area coverage. In Mali, sorghum is produced, 1.8 million tons of sorghum is produced on 1.8 million acres. And then sorghum is an important cereal crop for the smallholder farmers of Mali because of its multiple use. It is used as fodder for animals, and it is as feed for animals, and it is also used as food for humans. However, despite its importance, sorghum grain yield remain low, and that is mainly due to the climate change we are currently facing, to the severe drought stress occurring during the growing season, to the expansion of the population, to the higher demand, ever-growing demand for this crop, and mostly for the genotype times environment interaction. So what do we propose as a solution? Actually, we work with plant breeders, and we propose to design the production environment for them in order to reduce this G by E by M interaction. We intend, or we are working on defining homogeneous production environment for sorghum breeding in West Africa. This is really important. It will allow breeders to select in a very efficient way their multi-location trial sites in order to evaluate the newly developed varieties. That is one advantage among others. And for that, we propose to use historical meteorological data set, and then soil data set, and also the sorghum breeding trial data set collected over 8 years across 6 countries in West Africa. So what I did was to take this activity as part of my work in Belgium. So when I was in Belgium, one thing we did was to first of all apply the statistical tools to this data set in order to be able to define the homogeneous production environment. One of the main statistical tools we used was the tidyverse. And we also tried to create a relation between the different databases, the weather database, the soil database, and the sorghum breeding database. So the weather and soil are generated. They are not observed because it's really challenging in West Africa to get continuous weather data sets over years across different regions, right? And the soil data set also for different profile is somehow challenged. It's challenging to get that also. So we use generated data set for weather and soil. However, we use the observed crop data set that we got from breeders. So we loaded the data set, inspected them, and then explored them. And we also were able to visualize them using still the R software. So in the yellow part or orange part are the activities we were able to do together at ILVO. I didn't mention that, but ILVO was my host organization, and I had the chance to work with an amazing scientist whose name is Sarah Gary. She's been really perfect, let it be. I really, really enjoyed working with her, and we are still working together. So we were able with the biometrician of ILVO to complete these different activities in orange, and then the remaining part in white were not completed, but we are still working on those ones. So this is more or less one of the results we got. The statistical activities allow us, or tools allow us to see the differences in our weather data set, or to be, let's say, it allows us to kind of have a clean data set with continuous values, nicely arranged. And it also allows us to assess the patterns of the weather data set across different areas. And these data sets are available upon request. One other activity I did when I was in Belgium was to kind of analyze the images collected using an UAV. The UAV we used was an EB. So the idea was to kind of use the remote sensing approach to help with the phenotyping for breeders in Agrifood Mali here. This is the procedure. So normally we should start with flight planning and then flight execution, and then processing the data after flight execution, and then extract the processed data set and proceed with statistical analysis and use the data extracted from this statistical analysis for further analysis, let's say for modeling, for example. In yellow are the things I did. Actually, I had images already collected from Nigeria. So what ILVO teams assisted me in doing was to teach me how to pre-process and post-process those data sets. So I just gave an example of the images I had. On the left side, we have the raw images. We had more or less 38 images collected across the growing period of Kano in Nigeria. And then the images were used in 2 software. One is a free software and one is a licensed. The free software is the Open Drone Map software, and then the licensed one is the Pix4D map software. And we obtained an ortho mosaic that allow us to have a clear and an overview of the study area. And we also process with the normalized, the calculation of some indices, including the normalized difference vegetation index. So the next step, what we are doing currently, as the program is still continuing, what we are doing is to try to formulate the model, statistical model to be now applied on the data set, and then finally interpret the results. And as for the UAV, what we want to do is to write in a standardized manner the approach that can be used to analyze data sets collected by a UAV. Like my colleagues said, we had a chance to attend different training, soft skill training, as well as the hard skill training we attended. Those soft skill trainings we attended them, those soft skill trainings, we attended them online as well as in person. So the first one was a cross-cultural training that allowed us to communicate across culture. We learned how to negotiate with success, and then how to present with power. And we also learned how to develop proposals, Horizon Europe proposal writing. We learned how to speak in our scientific result in a very efficient manner, in order to be able to convey our key messages to the audience. And we learn the self-leadership courses as well. We had the chance to visit the phenotyping platform at VIB, where we were trained how to use some some novel technologies, phenotyping technologies, including how to measure the chlorophyll content. I had chance through ILVO to go to a village next to Ghent, where we had our stay in Belgium, and to learn how to use an electrical resistivity tomography that is used, among others, to measure the depth of water table. So for the outcome of the project, I can say that, of the proposal, I can say that, of the program, I can say that Open Door Fellowship has opened many doors for me. It allowed me to take part to 3 project proposal developments. The first one was for it's a Clark project proposal, which was funded by Canadians. And then it was about $1.5 million Canadian dollars. We did not get this, but we are working on improving it in order to submit it elsewhere. We also developed a logistics proposal, which is funded by the Flemish government from Belgium. We did that with a Belgian organization, which is vitro. And then this project proposal has been pre-selected. We are yet to receive the final result, which will be communicated in December. And we are currently developing a project proposal for the Grand Challenge program with VIB. So professionally, the program has really helped me because it allowed me to learn how to process UAV images. We had these images here for quite some times and we did not really know how to process them. And thanks to the Open Door Fellowship Program, I was able to have an idea on how to work on them and extract useful information that could be used for phenotyping purpose. And also with Sarah Gare, my host from ILVO, we are drafting a scientific paper on those breeding trial data sets. We really made progress and then, well, we are yet to finalize it. And thanks to the program, I was able to be part of the 3 consortium for the project proposal development. And I'm also drafting the standardized operational procedure on drought phenotyping using the drought phenotyping, but that includes also the image processing procedure. So personally, Open Door Fellowship has really, really helped me. It's allowed me to have a greater visibility, to have a better way of speaking science, to be more confident, to have an expanded network, to be more assertive, and to acquire negotiation skills. So what I could recommend to fellows that are coming this year is to decide quickly, because there are only 8 fellowships available. So please, please decide, otherwise you will lose. And think seriously of what you want to do while you are on the Open Door Fellowship program. That is really important. Don't be too ambitious, but think seriously on what you want to do. Prepare thoroughly your application, provide on time the required documents, and if you have any doubt, contact the program team members. They're really helpful. I would like to thank you all for attending this seminar today. It really means a lot for us. And I want to thank particularly Agrifood for having allowed me to go to Belgium for 2.5 months stay and to still be part of the program. I want to thank ILVO for welcoming me and Vito for the project proposal development and mostly the Open Door Fellowship Program. Laura, really thank you. This is an amazing opportunity for some of us from West Africa. Thanks.
Thank you, Marina, for this presentation. I think it's, I keep on being like amazed about the outcomes of you ladies through the program. I wasn't aware of the GSTICS pre-selection, but I hearty congratulations for that, and I'm sure you will be having high chances on that proposal. So and thank you also, because this slide for recommendations I think is very useful, coming especially from someone who has gone through the program, and you've sort of paved the way for me to open the next and final session of today's presentation, or of our today's info session, our webinar, which is about giving to all of you a better insight on what the Open Doors Fellowship Program is, now that we're having the sponsorship of LIRUOs, and how we have reorganized a bit the activities and the learning processes, also through the feedback we've been receiving from Anik, Adeola, and Marina. So it's now my time to share screen. I hope it's going to function all well. Otherwise, please, Grace, let me know. I won't see your screen, but please just send me a voice message. All right, so I hope everyone can see my presentation well. And I want to share with you this question, you know, have you ever heard that female researchers leak from the scientific pipeline? I guess some of you have heard about this expression. So what is that? According to UNESCO, and this is data from 2020, when it comes to studies at the bachelor and master's level, women and men are somehow in a playing level field. The percentages of participation of women in bachelor's and master's program are very similar to that of men. It's about 53%. Then there is a bit of a decline, but it's not very big when it comes to PhD, when it comes to women pursuing and graduating from PhDs. And I'm looking at my figures because I want to give you the exact number. It's 43%. So there is a decrease of 10% when it comes to women pursuing PhD activities. But then there is a dramatic decline when it comes to the actual number of women who are becoming scientists, like actual employed researchers in the scientific institutions. We go from 43% of women pursuing and graduating from a PhD to only 29% of women becoming employed researchers. And yet, once we're in the scientific pipeline, the retention of women in academia is 20% lower than that of men. And so what is the problem with this leaking on the research pipeline? That this phenomenon is affecting women along their entire career path. So sometimes people may say that, well, you know, it's basically in this step after PhD to go into postdoc. No, this is also affecting women who are in their postdoc phases and that they are looking for consolidation even to become like a principal scientist. And the main problem is that this is affecting the future generation of scientists, because if we cannot retain women in academia, we will be losing the next generation of mentors and role models to the scientists of the future. And so what has been assessed by UNESCO and other institutions, what scientific research says is that this scientific leakage is leading to a loss of competitiveness, talent, creativity, and financial resources. So we women are necessary in the scientific pipeline, and we really want to keep women where they have to be. So as I said, at IPBO, we believe that we can keep women in their scientific trajectories by empowering them with new skills. As you've heard from our fellows today, it's about soft skills that are very important. It's about negotiating, it's about communicating. But it's also important to help our female fellows to expand their networks and to increase their visibility. And we don't only think about visibility through social media, but we also look at scientific visibility, and you will see how. And so what are the 4 main objectives of our program? The first is to enhance the scientific outputs of our fellows in fields that are relevant for African and the EU agricultural sectors. We really want our fellows to be able to produce science and high quality science. We want to expand and consolidate the Belgium-African scientific actions. This means like future collaborations in projects, PhDs, etc. And also the ultimate goal of our program is to contribute to reduce the dropout of early and mid-career scientists from the African research and academic institutions. And so how is the Open Doors Fellowship organized? We are having, I'm going to show you now how is the program organized. You've seen a bit from Monique and Marina and Adeola, but we are going to try to put it in a more structured way so you can have a glance, a good vision on what the program is about. Okay, so we are having basically, oops, so some animations have just gone like a bit wild, sorry about that. We are having basically 5 main areas of intervention in our program. At the center stage, we are having the hard and soft skills, the acquisition of hard and soft skills by our participants as a way to navigate their career path with more confidence. And I'm very glad, because this is something that has been repeatedly said by our fellows. I'm more confident now. Anik said it, Adeola said it, Marina said it after the trainings they received. We also work, of course, on providing scientific visibility. We also work on expanding the network of peers and research collaborators in this part of the world, in Belgium. Through this expanded network, you have already seen, for instance, in the case of Marina, that there is an increased possibility of working on collaborative research projects and access new sources of funding that otherwise without partners here you won't be able to access, for instance, to Flemish funds or funds from the Belgian cooperation. And also we really want to help also our fellows to bring back to their institutions the need of having gender inclusive policies, and that a working environment that supports women is essential for them to stay on the scientific pipeline. So the Open Doors Fellowship Program is a program that lasts 20 months. In the first cohort, it was lasting 24 months, but due to the new arrangements, we had to sort of condense it a bit. So each cohort now is going to be 20 months of training, okay? And as Adeola had mentioned, we are split our program into 2 phases. Phase 1 is a short research stage here in Flanders, in Belgium, okay? And I have to say that this is coming in a fixed time of the year. Fellows cannot choose. It comes from the 3rd of May, and I'm saying 3rd of May, I'm being very specific because this year, the 1st of May is a public holiday, but it's basically from the 3rd of May until the 15th of July. The reason why we're doing this is because interviews are going to be going on until February, end of February, most likely. We will have to communicate to our selected candidates at the beginning of March. And then it requires a bit of time to do the paperwork and the visas, as all of you know. And we also want to receive everyone together at the same time, because another element that we want to foster in our program is this sense of belonging, of having peers with you. It's a group of women who are staying here together so they can help each other, they can collaborate with each other, they can know each other. And we also hope that whoever comes here, these 8 fellows, end up developing also their internal network and their internal support group, not only while you're here, but for the future to come. So that's why we also want to bring everyone on board. And because there is a 1 week of inception on the program where you will be going through some of the courses that the fellows have presented. And then we allow people to choose, we allow women to choose whether they want to stay 8, which is the minimum amount of time you can be here, 8 weeks to 12 weeks. We also recognize that some of you have kids, have professional and personal duties that you cannot kind of abandon. And so we try to give these 4 weeks of flexibility for you to say whether you want to stay 8, 9, 10, or 12 weeks. But then we can't go any more farther than 12 weeks. So this is the 3 months that I was said before by the fellows. And then the phase 2 is a phase that it starts right after all of you go back home. So you will be receiving training and research incentives while you are back at your duty station, and it starts immediately after you go. So all the courses you will be signing up for in phase 2 will be, of course, online. This is a bit of a busy slide, but bear with me, I'm going to take you through that. So what we're showing you here is a timeline of the Open Doors Fellowship Program, okay? So we're in this phase, October, November, December of this year, when we are opening the slots, we're opening the applications, and we are hoping to get as many applicants as possible. And then in January, we will close with the application. The deadline is on the 10th of January, 2023. And so we will be on the selection process between January and February of 2023. By March, we will communicate to all of you the results, and we'll communicate to everybody, whether you have been selected or you have not been selected. So in this case, like the no news, good news doesn't apply. Everyone will receive a response from our side. And then in April, you have a preparatory month. It's to discuss also with the researchers here, whether you need to bring material or, any preparations you have to do before you arrive. And as we said, this is already part of phase 1, and then you have this 3 months research stage in Flanders. Then upon returning to your duty station in August 2023, we already start training block 1 that will last until December. From there, we initiate in 2024, January, training block 2 until June. And our program will finish with a final training block, which is a bit shorter, 5 months, in November 2023. And so there will be some, what we call learning moments from the cohort. We call this cohort beta because Marina, Anik, and Ariola belong to cohort alpha. And we will be gathering inputs from all of you you see these pink triangles, because we really want to know how things are going. How are you progressing? Whether you need to readjust your calendars when it comes to trainings, etc., etc. Okay, and this is definitely a busy slide, but I want to present to all of you here what are the courses that you will be able to join when you're in the Open Doors Fellowship Program. During the phase 1 in Flanders, as we said, the short research stage, you will have face-to-face soft skill courses while you are here in Flanders. One is the cross-cultural communication, and this is a course that takes place before you land in the labs, and it's a course where our fellows will be sitting in the same room together with the researchers who will be hosting them. And so it's a bit of a way to connect before the internship starts, the short research day starts, in a safe environment outside of the lab where everybody is together and where people will be brought into the elements that you should consider when you are working with someone from a different culture. So we all get to become much more aware of what could be the different barriers or elements that could hamper a proper cultural communication process. And it really helps people to put themselves into the other shoes. And it proved to be very, very successful last year. So people went to the lab and they were like already much more aware of, what could be the things happening there. So everyone recommended that we had this course as a must. So you will have this course before going to the lab. Then we will have the Present with Power with Hands on the Water is an organization called The Floor is Yours that is giving women the capacity to present in public and in a very engaging manner. Also, we will have a workshop. This is going to be a 2-day workshop where we collaborate with our fellows and their PIs here as well on how to develop competitive project proposals. And finally, there will be a short symposium where fellows will be presenting their work here. And there will be a final study tour so they can also visit other institutions around that might be of interest. During phase 2, this is when you're all back home. We start with training block 1, and during the training block 1, we're going to have the speaking science course. This has been already mentioned by some of the participants. It's a 5-week course, and we are teaching every Thursday. We've been teaching for 5 weeks, 3 hours, where we train people on how to produce press articles, how to do storytelling. And I'm glad to say that we're having today with us Patricia Nantes, that she's been one of our allies, and she will be hopefully also participating in these courses through the Science Stories Africa. Then we'll also have a cross-cultural communication, a continuation to follow up, because some of the cross-cultural elements can be dragged in time. The collaboration never ends with or keeps on going with the Flemish groups here. So we think it's important to keep that cultural awareness awake. Then you'll have a negotiation skills course. And for the first time, fellows will be able to access the VIB, the training portfolio of the Center of Biotechnology of Flanders, where IPBO belongs. The Center of Biotechnology for Flanders has a large capacity building portfolio of courses that are online and face-to-face here in Flanders. And these courses are for our scientists usually only. But through the Open Doors Fellowship, the Capacity Building Office has agreed to give exclusive access to our fellows. So the agreement that we have is that fellows will be able to select throughout this 17th month period in phase 2. That's why it's listed below in column here. So you have access to these courses in block in semester 2 and semester 3 and semester 4 of a maximum of 6 courses, 3 on soft skills and 3 on hard skills. So for instance, hard skills could be how to program in Python, or our courses like the one from Anik, next generation sequencing, and soft courses could be the self-leadership course that was taken by our fellows here, or how to conflict resolution as well is one of our courses on soft skills that we also have. In this case, you can see a green pin. That means that you have the chance to do 6 courses, 3 and 3, as I said, but maybe you can't. So the only request we have here is that you will have to do over 17 months, at least 1 on hard skills and at least 1 on soft skills, okay? And then during this period on block 1 on semester 2, we will also have the online cafes. These are webinars where we want to give scientific visibility to our fellows. So we would be bringing our fellows into webinars where we are also connecting them with other scientists, and so they can present their science. The 8 fellows will have to present each of them will only have to present once across the 20-month period. So that means that during this period of the year, 2 of you will be presenting and then the others will be attending, while, in block 3, there will be another set of fellows presenting, for instance. And finally, we will also organize what we call the Open Doors Learn and Share Talks. This is new. The Open Door Learn and Share Talks want to become safe spaces where women can connect online. We can all come together and then we can share, about situations, or we can discuss about topics that are relevant and important for us. For instance, one of the sessions we want to prepare is how to identify and how to raise concerns about sexual harassment in the workplace. These are elements where we want to bring fellows in a safe environment and discuss things that are of our concern as women in the workplace, or for instance, comparing policies from different institutions about, breastfeeding, motherhood, and how the institutions are supporting women who are in a lactation period. So we can also we can create these guidelines and share among all the institutions across. And it has a yellow pin because we're requesting you to attend at least 80% of those talks across the 17 months. In training block in semester 1, so this is after, we are already in 2024, you'll have a leadership course, and we will wrap up on the cross-cultural communication sessions. And then we are offering a coaching session on project management, but this is volunteer. Some of you may want to do it, others may not. And it's a coaching program that lasts for a year. You are having 9 sessions with experts where you are meeting, and also some webinars where you are connecting with other professionals that are working in the project management system, so you can also kind of learn from them. And as I said, this that has a blue pin is voluntary. So project management will start in 2024, and it will continue in 2024, second semester. Then we are also providing, as we said before, incentives to enhance your visibility and recognition, okay? And what do we mean by incentives? These are also voluntary incentives, so you can choose to get them through the program, or you may choose not to do them. One of them is that in the event that you want to attend to an international conference and you are selected for an oral presentation, we will sponsor for you a bursary to travel there. But as I said, it has to be only when there is an oral presentation. We want people to see you, and usually with posters you don't get to see that. You don't get to see the fellow. We want to see you on stage. That's why we're also training you on how to present with power. And if you get selected for our presentation and you want, we will sponsor a bursary for you to travel there. Also, for those fellows who are publishing a paper related to their research activities, either as a first author or as a corresponding author, we will support the open access fees, so you can go open access. And also we will sponsor Science on the Road grants. And I hope Patricia is listening here. The Science on the Road grants are grants that will give you a training on how to do storytelling, how to show on camera, and how to explain your story through videos, which I think has been very empowering for some of the fellows we've been having in other courses. Okay, that was a heavy slide. Right, so now I guess all of you want to know who are eligible candidates, right, under the Open Doors Fellowship Program. Please, you can go to our website and you'll see this thumbnail, this banner. This is the applicants portal. Please click there and you'll find all the information I'm presenting right now, but in more detail. So don't miss this and read it carefully before you go and apply. Okay, we need applicants who are following all the criteria below. It's not one, it's not two, it has to be all of them. You must be an early career scientist. This is either a postdoc with 1 year at least of defending your PhD or in a mid-career position. And we don't care what your age is. You can be 35, you can be 55, you can be 49. We don't care. But you have to be already in the postdoc phase 1 year after PhD submission or gaining PhD. You have to be working in a center, in a research center or in a university, and you should have a contract over the period of the fellowship, which is going to be 20 months. We have to make sure that whoever enters into the program will be able to finalize it and is not going to be let go halfway through. You also must have an active line of research in agricultural related fields. We are going to show which ones, and you must be supervising either MSCs or PhDs or staff, which I think it's most of you doing that. And so what are the disciplines that the Open Door Fellowship Program is targeting? We are looking at scientists working on agrobiotechnology, plant breeding, molecular biology and genetics, microbiology, chemical ecology, plant and soil health. And this is new from this year. Livestock and aquaculture are also fellows we are welcoming on board on the Open Doors Fellowship Program. Okay, another element, and this is very much connected to the VLIR UOS policy, is that we are looking at candidates that have to be national and resident in one of the VLIR UOS scholarship countries. And I'm going to show you right now which are those. Or exceptionally, it can be an employee of a target organization in one of these countries, okay? And in those cases where you're having a different nationality from the one of the country where you're working, we'll have to analyze case by case. So what are those countries? These are the countries highlighted in the map. VLIR UOS scholarship countries are Benin, Burkina, DRC, Ethiopia, Kenya, Rwanda, Senegal, South Africa, Tanzania, and Uganda, okay? And Nigeria, we have to say it's not a VLIR UOS country, but because we know there is a lot of interest in Nigeria and we have very strong partners over there, and we know that the potential is really huge, we are sponsoring also fellows through the Marca Nora van Montegu Fund, okay? It's important to let all of you know. All right, so what's the way fellows can connect with the research institutions in Belgium? And I think this is somehow related to the question that was being posed before by Mary. And like, I haven't seen this sweet potato call we are going to show you right now. There are two ways in which fellows can apply and can enter into the Open Doors Fellowship Program, what we call the modalities, okay? Just give me a second. I think I'm running out of battery here. Excuse me. All right. There are two ways in which people can access the Open Doors Fellowship Program. Oops, you still see me? Yes. It's modality A, okay? And in modality A, we are having African fellows, African candidates who are willing to explore new partnerships with Flemish research groups, okay? They've never worked with them, like Anik, Marina, and Adiola did. They've never known about them, but all of a sudden they are seeing on our website that there are some slots for short research stage being proposed that are matching their needs, that are matching their interests, that are matching their research activities. And so basically they apply, they present an application where they are creating a project to connect their science of Africa with the Flemish research groups. So what we want here is to create new and solid partnerships north-south. For us, it's very important that there is a strong synergy, that we can really prove, or that the fellow can really prove complementarity, because we really want those partnerships to last and be strong and be sustainable. So it's a way to collaborate. We want this to be a two-way road. It's not only like the North helping the South. We don't want to see it like that. It's also a lot of the science being done in Africa who will be helping scientists here. And I think that, for instance, Anik's example is excellent. She had that sweet potato here in Flanders. They had never thought about doing it in sweet potato, and this collaboration has proven to be very successful. That's modality A, okay? So where can you find the slots available for modality A for the next cohort intake? When you go to our website, you will see this section here that is called Flemish Research Groups Portal, and there you will find slots being open this year, okay? Please keep on checking on the coming days, because we have 3 more slots coming soon, but they haven't been published yet. So far we have 6, but there are more coming. So it's just that we didn't have the time to put them all up and running on the web. But please keep on coming on the, keep on checking, sorry, in the coming days. So here, our fellows should align with the scopes required by the Flemish group. They are opening a slot and they are describing their ongoing research. They are opening themselves to have African collaborators, and they're looking for particular profiles, right? So please take time to read carefully the documents and the materials that have been provided by the Flemish groups, so you can really make sure that you align yourself with those projects. This is an example of the slots that we are having this year. We're having on soil health, on nematodes. We're having one on how to modify certain plant traits through programmed cell death. Again, the in vitro plant biotechnology lab where Adeola did her work is opening a new slot this year. We're having new ones such as studying the impact of mycotoxins in human health. This is a bit of an exception because whoever applies for that will be working with human samples, but it's all about understanding the inflammatory processes of mycotoxins in humans' body. Also, how to study plant-pathogen interactions and elucidate signal pathways when a pathogen attacks a plant. Or maybe we have another one which is about how plant volatiles can improve plant growth under biotic and abiotic stressors. This is just a taste of what we have there. So I ask you, please, if you're interested in one of those, to click open and read carefully the calls. On the modality B, we are also allowing candidates who have previous experience working with Flemish groups here to present a joint proposal with their counterparts in Flanders. This is for those who have been or have connections in Flanders, that they know people here, that they've been having joint research in the past, and they want to expand that research or consolidate it further. Okay, and in this case, our fellows will be working directly with the Belgian groups, and then they can submit their proposal. As Marina had said, we are having 8 scholarships, okay? We wish we would have more, but we can't. And at the same time, we really want to make it a very tailored and personalized program. So we are having 8 scholarships, And these will go for modality A and B. And we are going to select applications based on their high quality, their excellency, the potential for future partnerships, and the suitability of the candidates, of course. Deadline for both modalities is 10th of January 2023. Because we experienced this last year, we cannot extend it anymore. So whatever application comes on the 11th of January, unfortunately, we won't be able to admit it. So please make sure we are having 2 months that you submit before the 10th of January. What should you consider when you're preparing your application based on the last year's pitfalls we had? Kindly read the guidelines, understand the call. We realized that a lot of people really didn't understand what the Open Doors Fellowship program was. This is not a postdoctoral problem, a postdoctoral program, or this is not some people thought that they had to come here for 2 years, and that's not the case. Or some people were asking us funding for their own research in Africa, and they sent us budgets about 100,000 euros for a research activity. This is not what the Open Doors Fellowship is, so please take time to read the guidelines. Submit all the required documents. We also saw a lot of applications were incomplete last year, so we had to go back and forth. This year we're going to send you an email as soon as we receive the application, and after the time we are submitting you that email indicating that you are missing X, Y, and Z documents. You'll have 10 days. 10 days to reply and give us the documents that we need. If you don't do that, we understand that you are not any longer interested in the program, and so your application will not be considered further for the next round of selection. Invest time in the quality of the proposal, please. Make sure that your objectives are specific, but as Marina said, they are also realistic. Last year we had amazing projects, but we could have done like 2 PhDs out of those projects. So make sure that you're also being realistic and that you can measure the objectives as well in the proposal. Try to highlight as much as possible why that partnership between you and the Flemish group will be strategic, how this connection will translate into further research work collaborations in the future, and think mid-term and think long-term. And finally, what's your suitability as a candidate? Some of the fellows are asking, for instance, not the fellows, but the PIs are asking that they need someone who has previous experience, for instance, on managing qPCR. If you have that, just say it, mention it clearly, and even, provide some evidence on that based on a paper that you've published. But if you don't have that expertise, maybe it's not good that you're applying, because the moment that you will come here, you will find yourself like dragging or suffering, because you need that in order for you to learn other things. And so to start growing from that step. So that would be a bit of a challenge for you. So when you submit your application, you must have the application template fully filled, either for modality A or for modality B. And you also need to provide us with supporting documents, okay? And we have a detailed list of what those supporting documents are in our applications portal. Please read them carefully. At the same time, we are asking all of you, please, to submit 3-page CVs. It's impossible for us to be reviewing CVs that are 50 pages, and that's not the purpose of sending a CV like that to an application like this. So please make sure that you are really reading carefully what are the documents that we need, so you can submit what we are expecting from all of you. And then I would like to highlight the fact that applicants can only submit 1 proposal per call, either in modality A or B. This means that an applicant cannot submit this year in this call, for instance, for 2 slots in modality A. Oh, sorry, the light has gone off. I've been sitting for too long. So we cannot have 2 people applying on modality A, 2 slots, or someone applying on modality A and also on modality B. So either you go for A, 1 slot, thank you, Grace, or you go for B, okay, but you can't do both. And finally, I guess some of you are wondering, what is the program going to offer me when I go to Flanders? We will cover your flight tickets and your visa costs. We will be provided a subsistence allowance, a health insurance while you're in Flanders. We cover your bench fees in the Flemish labs, so there has to be no money exchange between your centers and us. And also a month public transportation pass, so you can get to work every day using bus, but some of you may also choose to go by bicycle. That's we will sort that out later on. All right, so I know it was a bit long, but I wanted to make sure that we were all on the same page. And you have all this information, sorry, on the, let me go back to that slide, on our website. But you know, sometimes when you say it in person, it's better than when you just let people read. I want to go back to this one here. If you have any queries, whatever you want to find out, please send us an email to IPBO, sorry, it's to IPBO, and follow us on Twitter and Instagram, and also on LinkedIn, right? There will be new things coming in the following days. So